Live from Santa Cruz, it's Pacific Television Theater.
So the whole merger was all set to happen. Both parties had smoothed out their differences. Everyone was in agreement. The lawyers had the contracts all written up. And then the chief operating officer resigned out of nowhere. Said he wanted to spend more time with his family. Believable, right? Well, of course, that put the whole merger on hold, which turned out to be a good thing because a week later, they were raided by the SEC. Yeah, we dodged a bullet there.
It's never a good sign when someone that high gets up and resigns.
Yeah, he must have been the only one that saw the writing on the wall.
Lucky for him, he knew when to jump ship.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Something similar happened to us, though on a much lower scale. We were set to do a private label for a high-end salon in the city, a big account with reorder potential, and then they had a power struggle. The usually hippie left fighting. Our main contract was forced out, and there went the account. We thought we had missed a big chance, but the infighting continued, and there was a flurry of lawsuits. Not as dramatic as an SEC raid, but it was still a landmine we were lucky to avoid.
Those split-ups are worse than divorces. Nobody wins.
Yeah, except the lawyers.
Yeah.
Well, the way to avoiding that is awareness of your workplace. When you ignore someone's grievances, it just grows into a bigger problem. And when you finally notice, it's too late.
Okay, so you figured that secret out really early on. Okay.
I do my best to keep my finger on the pulse.
No doubt they appreciate your attention.
I like to think so. There was this one time I took the crew out for drinks after we got our biggest order out the door, or at least the biggest order up to that point. A good way to let off steam after all the pressures we've been through doing all these things. I was thinking. Of course, everyone left before I did, so I was the last one there. Well, by the time I showed up, the whole place was in a frenzy because one of the local sports teams had won a playoff game. They barely noticed when I showed up.
Do you remember which team won the playoff?
I don't remember. I don't even remember which sport it was.
Okay, you're not much of a sports fan. Okay.
I just don't have the time to follow sports or anything else that doesn't affect me directly.
Only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. See, I watch the occasional game when I can, but mostly I'm one of those live-to-work guys.
Well, sounds like we're all dedicated career people.
So, tell us about Dermalogic.
Oh, Dermalogic is my baby. Dermalogic is a small but growing company that over the years has carved out a niche in competitive field by concentrating on quality and making that our reputation. We have survived the ups and downs of the industry, a number of recessions, and have had continuous growth over the last 7 years. So we have a small but dedicated workforce, some who have been with us for years. And I know they'll be up for any future expansions.
Good.
Yes.
But I suppose you're looking for more than their usual peer spiel.
Well, there's always certain information that doesn't show up on the company brochure or website. You know.
Certainly.
Yes, nothing like insider information. But in all seriousness, I can say we have no major issues, no major problems. And when new problems do appear, we have procedures for dealing with them.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
It was a struggle at the beginning, of course. Just like any other small business. Mistakes were made. There were booms and busts. But over the years, we've created an infrastructure that can take on all the issues that crop up in our business.
Yes, that can be a tricky balancing act.
So the important thing is it's a happy workforce.
Yes, yes.
Yes, for the most part, everyone thinks that they work too much, and no one thinks they get paid enough. But I can say the same thing for myself. At least they get vacations.
Oh, the employee don't always appreciate a burden of the employer.
Oh, you can say that again.
All you really need from them is that they trust you and trust your leadership. You don't have to be their friends.
That's right. I haven't had a rebellion yet.
Oh, good. See, that's the mark of a good boss.
Thanks. Glad someone feels that way.
So you're satisfied with your workers?
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't do this without them. And I hire or oversaw all the hiring, all of them. Now, I know that good help is hard to find, but I've learned to separate the serious worker from the slackers who spend too much time in the break room.
Okay, I trust by now those kinds of people will weed it out.
Well, there was a time when a few of them just BS their way through the interview process, but now, let's just say they know better than to work with me.
A productive ship is a happy ship.
I learned that lesson. I've learned so much about business that I could teach a warden.
It does show in your profit margins.
Well, as much as I like to pat myself in the back, I do have to give credit to my employees. You're only as good as the people around you.
Here, here.
You can write that in stone.
In the beginning, it was all about the product. But as the business has grown, so has my appreciation for human resources. You really can't do anything without them.
Very, very true.
So, what inspired you to get into the skincare field?
Well, I was working a high-pressure job in sales environment, but making great money, lots of hours, and even more stress. I was so stressed, I started to break out in a rash. So I treated it with various lotions, scrubs, but nothing seemed to work. Ointments. I decided to make my own. And after a while and a lot of research, a lot of experimentation and trial and error, I found a recipe that worked.
Now, were you working in sales in the skincare business, or?
No, business software. First job out of college. I was just starting out, ambitious, but not sure what I wanted to do. Good thing I developed that skin problem, huh?
I think what happened was that you discovered you preferred working more for yourself than for others.
That does sound about right. It's a lot more work, but it's my vision. And I don't have to answer to anyone but me.
There's comfort in knowing where the buck stops.
Well, they say, heavy lies the head that wears the crown.
I've grown used to it.
Okay.
So, who are the people of Dermalogic?
Well, I couldn't get anything done at all without Rick. He's in charge of operations, which entails many different tasks and responsibilities. Somehow, he keeps it all together.
Now, the best operations, they're miracle workers.
Is Rick one of your lifers?
Yes, he's been with us for a long time. When we got our first commercial space, he handled all the shipping and receiving, organized the warehouse, set up our order processing procedures, and did a lot of problem solving. He's been indispensable in the growing of the company.
Now, does he also handle the production, or?
That'd be Carl. He's down there in the machinery and raw ingredients making the product. We call him our mad scientist. Even though he keeps reminding us that he never completed his master.
Has this mad scientist been with the company as long as Rick?
Almost. Once the business started to take a hold, I knew I needed more. Someone with a scientific background. And if I wanted to keep improving our product, he could have made more money elsewhere. But he believed in what I was doing, and he wanted to be part of something that was going to grow instead of being a cog in some giant machine.
I respect that. It takes faith to turn away a bigger paycheck and cast your lot with an unknown entity.
Now, where did you find him?
I had a consultant in the chemistry department at the university. I would go with all my questions to him. When it came time to hire an expert, he recommended Carl.
And does he have a crew working under him?
Yes. 2 full-time and 2 part-time. Together they get it all done.
Mad scientist or not, you definitely need science people in this industry.
And what about sales and marketing?
Steve is in charge of that department, or departments. Inside sales, outside sales, cold calling, copywriting, even customer service is under his purview. But he has the energy and the stamina to do it all.
Now, does he understand ABC?
Oh, he makes all his new hires watch Glengarry Glen Ross.
I never thought of that as a training film, but as long as it works.
No, just as long as this guy is not a loose cannon. I mean, salespeople can get like that sometimes.
Yes, I do give him a lot of rope at times, but more often than not, he delivers.
And he knows how to target your marketing.
Oh, that's why he's in charge of the department. When I started out, I was naive enough to think my product would be good enough to sell itself. Oh, boy, did I have a lot to learn.
Even with your sales background?
Yes, you think you know better, right? But I was so caught up in the excitement of starting my own business that I forgot about the importance of getting the word out.
Yeah, often that's the hardest part of the job.
Yeah.
And skincare products is a crowded field. We went to every trade show and natural product expo where we could rent a booth, did product demos wherever we were allowed, and gave free samples to every potential customer and distributor. Steve brought intelligence as well as enthusiasm to the position.
These days, you practically have to have a celebrity endorsement to even get noticed.
Fortunately, we have testimonials from regular people.
And in some ways, those are more valuable because people will trust another regular person more than a celebrity they assume is being paid.
Too bad regular people can't be more famous.
Yes, sir. Well, and another thing about salespeople, especially the good ones. They start to think that it's their company because they're the ones bringing in the customers and the money.
No, Steve knows his place. And when he forgets it, I remind him.
So there's no power struggle going on.
I put Steve in charge because you have to be a forward person in the world of sales. I knew what I was getting. Wallflowers make good friends, but I wouldn't hire one to sell my products.
Yes, they do better in R&D. Well, now sometimes a marketing department can go its own way and drum up business by making promises without checking with production, which can frustrate them with extra unexpected work.
We're small enough to where it's like a family.
Ah, good.
Though an extended one by now, so no one goes too far astray.
Yeah, keeping it all together must take some doing.
And the key is to make a path for everyone to follow. That way, there's always forward direction.
Okay, so you're blazing a trail.
It must be hard to do all that by yourself. Who's your general manager?
Oh, that would be Kyla.
And how long has she been with you?
Almost since the beginning.
Is she an old friend?
Since college, we lived in the same dorm. Just a couple of 18-year-olds looking to take on the world.
Now, did she end up in the same field as you?
Oh, she started teaching. I told her, as long as you're working hard for all those hours, wouldn't you rather make what you're worth? I convinced her.
Friends and family are the most loyal.
She is. And the hardest worker I know.
Good.
I couldn't do it without her.
That's generous, but it sounds to me like you're the hardest worker there.
Well, perhaps. But if that's the case, Kayla is the second hardest worker there. And another reason why she's been with me for so long is because she respects my authority. But she also tells me like it is. And people like that are hen's teeth.
Well, I must say, I like everything that you've told us about Dermalogic.
Why, thank you.
Trust me, this guy is really hard to impress.
Well, then I've succeeded beyond my expectations.
So we've discussed your counteroffer. Your demands are reasonable, and that makes the negotiation process smoother.
All those demands were considered very carefully.
Oh, trust, we could tell, yeah.
And this is our response.
And we think you will like it very much.
Well, very generous. I think my people can get behind this.
Yeah, so you think they'll go along?
May take some convincing, but if I put it the right way, they should go.
Hey,
Yeah.
we trust you. If anyone can do this, it's you.
Thank you. But I'll wait before we seal the deal before I start accepting accolades.
Well, it sounds like you have it all sewn up.
Thanks. I tried. That's all I can do.
Hey, you know what they say. No trying, you either do it or you don't. And you have definitely done it.
Well, I bet whoever said that never had to deal with the franchise tax board.
Well, I think the rest of my colleagues will be satisfied with what we've discussed here.
Thank you for meeting with me, for taking a chance on Dermalogic and for lunch.
Hey, I think all this calls for a drink.
Yeah, what do you say? A toast to working together?
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Well, Gordon, after 7 years, you've finally risen up to middle management. Congratulations,
Thank you so much, Len.
Leonard.
Leonard.
You'll find that things are a little different up here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to putting all of my experience to good use at a higher level for this company.
Yes, of course, but do you know what the best part is?
Much bigger pay?
Well, actually, now that you're salaried, you won't be getting any overtime if you work after hours, which you probably will because you're new here. So actually, you'll be losing money. But I'm talking about something more fundamental.
Being rewarded for dedication and loyalty?
Sure, why not? But I'm talking of something more satisfying to the soul.
Oh, I know. Being a more integral part of this company.
Now listen to me, Gordon. The only integral people here are the executive board. Everyone else is expendable. Got it?
Understood.
You see, I'm talking of something that will make it all worth it.
But what is that?
Lording it over the underlings.
You mean the staff of workers, the ones who keep the whole company going, or?
They're peons.
Excuse me?
You heard me. Mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging morons.
Well, I just didn't understand how you, why you feel that way.
Oh, it's not just me. It's everyone in middle management on up. And that's the other thing you must learn.
Oh, the hierarchy.
Hierarchy, I'll tell you what it is here. This company is triple-decker sandwich. The board of directors are the top slice of bread, the plebes are the bottom slice of bread, and we are the ingredients in the middle. And our job is to make sure the bottom slice knows its place and doesn't get any ideas of trying to be the top slice.
But I have to say, I never felt the feeling that everyone down on the work force was trying to stage a mutiny or something.
Oh, you don't know that for a fact. Sneaky little devils they are. Perhaps they didn't let you in on their scheme because deep down they knew you weren't one of them and that you'd end up here.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it.
Do you? Because I get the feeling you are still sympathetic towards those pawns.
Well, I'm confessing, I'm not totally hard-hearted, but I hope that's not going to be a problem or anything.
I used to be like you, concerned about the average schmuck, worried if they're able to get through their miserable lives or not. But then I was set straight.
By who?
by the rest of middle management under the direction of our glorious executive board, of course. Long may they reign.
Oh, yeah, of course. Long may they reign.
A little slow there.
It will not happen again.
I hope so for your sake. But I was saying, when I was plucked from the horde, they educated me to the true way of how this company, indeed, how the world works.
A hard work and dedication?
When will you learn? I'm talking about divide and conquer.
I just don't. I mean, the workers here, they seem kind of reasonable with what they want. I mean,
And they must be kept that way.
but I don't mean to be rude, but doesn't it sound like the executive board is acting a little paranoid?
Oh, do not doubt the executive board. They know all and see all.
Of course, silly me.
I am serious. Now that you're here in upper management, you must change your behavior.
I'm starting to get that idea.
No more fraternizing with the proletariat.
But what happens when one of them starts talking to me? You know, maybe they have an important question or.
You say to them, I am your superior, now genuflect before me.
Doesn't that sound a little heavy-handed?
Heavy-handed, he said. Oh, I'm starting to wonder if you have what it takes to occupy the immense, awesome responsibility that is middle management. You seem to think it's okay to do manual labor.
Well, I don't mind working with my hands.
Well, you better start minding, because that kind of thinking is for lunatics.
What's going on in here?
Oh, Mr. Clausen, so good to see you. I was just explaining to Gordon here the way we do middle management.
Oh, sure that you do it right.
Yes, sir.
Because if it's one thing I can't stand, it's middle management peons who don't know their place.
Oh, I know my place, sir.
Good. Then dance for me.
Sir?
You heard me, underling. Dance! That's the best part of the job. Hi, I'm Clausen, and you are?
Leaving!
We lose more people this way.
Final bow.